Or 21 students. "22 students online, it's very good, but not so many students. I hope. Are you listen me? Are you listen me? Так, okay, let's go. Not so many students online. Not so many students online. Only 22 students online. "24 students online. Now check attendance, it's not a problem. Picture present. Okay, now we start. I see you register right now. Okay, let's go. Now we start our lecture. Now, dear colleagues, we start our lecture. I see my picture from phone. My opinion, quality very good today. Quality of picture very good. Today we start our lecture. Just a moment, I am attached. I'm sorry, now I attach my power bank to my phone to control video. Okay, now I control my picture, and I hope everybody listen me, everybody see me. We start our online lecture. I am Professor Alexander Dvirsky. Today our topic is a consciousness. What does it mean, consciousness? Consciousness is a level of awareness. Consciousness is a level of awareness. What does it mean, awareness? It means we responsibility for our action. It's a level of responsibility. What has been responsibility? Responsibility means that we understand what does it mean we are, and we understand what does it mean world around ourselves. Consciousness like a create orientations inside ourselves, and consciousness create a frontiers between ourselves and external worlds. Consciousness has only human. It's our mentality. It's our humanity. I pay you attention. Animals have not consciousness. Consciousness has only peoples. Only human has consciousness. I repeat once more. What has been consciousness? Consciousness it's a frontiers between ourselves and external worlds. We're not a part of the world. We are it's a completely systems. We understand who we are. It's clear. We understand that we are it's one thing, and world around ourselves it's other things. When we understand that we are we are unit, we are special systems, we are not a part of the world, we has a responsibility. What does mean responsibility? It means that we can planning our actions. We can plan it what's happen our when we do something. It's clear. What has been consciousness from other point of view? Consciousness it's a internal model of the external worlds. Internal model of the external worlds. What does mean internal model of the external world? It's mean then consciousness. It's like a sandbox. It's a sandbox in which we play what's happy in reality. We play what's happy in reality. What does it mean? What's happy in reality? In our consciousness, we it's not a reflection of the world. Reflection, it's our perception, it's our sensations. In sensations, we reflect physical worlds. In perceptions, we reflect, we take labels for every sensory image. It's like a nature and location of the sensory image. And when we speak about consciousness, it's not a mirror. Consciousness, it's like a computer games. It's a computer games in which present avatars, in which present you like avatars, in which present some unit which has a open strategy and units which has a open strategy, open behavior, open relations. Clear? Consciousness, it's something which increase our ability. In consciousness, we can check strategy during thinking process, during intelligence. We create a adaptive way of behaviors. Behaviors, you remember, it's a something which happy in reality. It's a something which happy in reality. But when we speak about consciousness, it's a something which it's a psychological process. First, it's a consciousness. It's a psychological process. It's not a behavior. Clear? Consciousness depend our behavior. Yes, of course, consciousness depend our behavior. But consciousness, it's a psychological process. It's mean other person have not access to your consciousness. You have not access to my consciousness. I have not access to your consciousness, because consciousness it's a psychological process. Consciousness it's something which happy in our mind. Clear? Consciousness it's a mental process. It's a hidden part of it's a hidden part from other person. It's very private things. But consciousness depend our behavior. Consciousness do our behavior more difficult, more flexibility. For what purpose evolutions of what I don't know who create our consciousness? Our consciousness open way to the check reality without contact with reality. For example, before exam, you think about your answer. You create a strategy of your answer. You create in your consciousness present dialogue between you and teacher. It's very important because during this dialogue you create a first present unit which simulate teacher behavior. Present you are your consciousness from one point of view create behavior of other person or other unit, and in reality, but it's not happy, it's not a reality, you understand, because you're not in exam, but you think what you do after some times. You think what you do after some times. You think how to do something, and you don't do the things not in reality. You create these things in your mind. It's a very safety process. Okay, two types of consciousness. First, access consciousness. What does mean access consciousness? It's a rational control of behavior. It's mean in a rational consciousness, it's this consciousness has a background like a memory, like a thinking, like a intelligence, speech. Yeah, in this type of consciousness, we manipulate with perception image. We manipulate with perception image, because perception image it's possible without sensory, without sensation. We can think about something. For example, you can think about how to answer in anatomy class today, for example. Yes, why not? And your consciousness like a great environment, like in anatomy class. You think how to answer to teacher. You create your answer. You think how teacher reply to your answer. Clear? You like a create a part of the world. It's very important. You like a create part of the world. In this world, you do a lot of things. In this world, you do a lot of things. I repeat once more. Phenomenal consciousness, background of the phenomenal consciousness, it's a memory, it's a thinking, it's an intelligence. Second part of consciousness, it's a phenomenal consciousness. Phenomenal consciousness, it's a something which we feel. It's a something which we feel. It's your sensory experience. It's your sensory experience. You touch something, you taste something, you feel something, you see something. It's like a reality. It's like a reality. But you understand reality absent. You remember that reality is only activity of the neurons in our brain. And yes, of course, sensations, perceptions, it's not a behavior, it's a mental process. What does mean mental process? In general, mental process, it's the activity of neurons into the brain. Clear? Behavior, it's the activity of the muscles. Behavior, it's something which we can register due using special equipment. Okay, I repeat once more. Access consciousness. It's a very difficult mental operations in which we use language, in which we use thinking process, intelligence, memory, and other process. What has been phenomenal consciousness? Phenomenal consciousness, it's a puzzle from which we create a reality. Phenomenal consciousness we can feel only via our sense organs. I pay your attention. Access consciousness. We have access consciousness. We can close our eyes, dreaming, meditate, and in those time we use access consciousness. Phenomenal consciousness. It's your practical words. It's your practice. It's your real practice. Clear? It's how to do something. It's how it's when you test apple, when you test banana, when you test something. It's a phenomenal consciousness. Everybody understand. But yes, of course, phenomenal consciousness, access consciousness, create avatars in our mind. It's not a reflection. It's a behavior of the mental object in our mind. In phenomenal consciousness, we receive some physical experience. Access consciousness can create new avatar. It's like a sensation and perception process. Clear? It's a level. Access consciousness based in perceptions, phenomenal consciousness based in sensation. I'm sorry. Okay, next picture. What's different between access consciousness and phenomenal consciousness? Phenomenal consciousness, like an apple, like an apple. Apple, it's like a fruit. Yes, looks like a banana. Looks like, I don't know. It's more hard than apple more hard than banana. Okay. Pineapple and orange very same. Consistency like orange and pineapple inside very same. You understand? Yeah. Access consciousness. Access consciousness, it's you create something new during your mental process. You create new image. You create new perception image. It's access consciousness. I repeat once more. Access consciousness, it's our ability to create new informations and manipulate with new informations. But in general, consciousness, it's like a model of the external worlds. I repeat once more. Consciousness, it's an internal model of the external worlds. Consciousness, it's it's not a reflection. In consciousness, we can simulate what's happy in future. In consciousness, we see in future. Consciousness open way to the very difficult operations, because consciousness create difficult operations. Understand? Okay, next terms. It's a quaila. Yeah, what does it mean? It's a finger step of the sensations. It's you cannot you cannot feel qualia without a real sensory image. Phenomenal consciousness based in qualia. Phenomenal consciousness based, it's an integrate sensory image. And finger step of reality, it's a last item, qualia. Okay, main problems in consciousness. What consciousness do? It's very clear. Consciousness open way to do very difficult operations. Consciousness, it's something which can open a way to the difficult operations. Consciousness, it's something which open way to the future. What is consciousness? We don't understand what is consciousness. Consciousness, a lot of definitions which base it in first items. Clear? Now absent artificial consciousness, now present machine learning, now present artificial intelligence, but now absent consciousness, now absent artificial consciousness. Attention. What does it mean, attention? How to understand what does it mean, attention? Okay, consciousness, it's like a ray. When you see to some object, word reflect in your mind. Your mind create a model of those part of reality. Clear? For example, now I concentrate my attention to the screen, and I can reading, I can understand these definitions, I can think about these definitions. Okay, a ray of this consciousness, it's a ray. Ray of consciousness. What does mean consciousness? It's like a ray. It's like a ray of the. It's like a ray of the. It's like a ray of the light in the dark rooms. Clear? In the dark rooms, you see. If you use light, you see like only part of the rooms. And this part of the rooms which you see in the circle of light, it's our attention. Clear? It's our attention. Attention, it's our ability to see a background and see picture and background. Clear? We see picture. For example, now I see to the display. Display, it's a picture, and rooms around myself, it's a background. But now I open, now I change my attention to the, for example, my phone. Now my phone is a picture, but the computer, it's a background. Clear? It's attention. Attention, it's our ability to the concentrate consciousness to the some object. When we concentrate attention to some object, our consciousness create a model of this object. We receive new informations. Our brain start processing information about object which reflect in our consciousness. Like we extract some object from background. Clear? In one time we has one or two objects, maybe some numerous of objects. Other object looks like a background. After that, you concentrate attention to the other object into background, and you receive object in your consciousness. When you concentrate your attention to something, your mental process, your cognitive ability create a more completely picture of those objects. I hope you understand what has been attention. When you read in books, you concentrate attention to the materials. When you listen lecture, you concentrate attention to the lecture right now. Clear? When you start listen music do the lecture, you concentrate your attention to the music. Music be a object and lecture be a background. I hope you understand this part of materials. I repeat once more. Attention manipulate with our sensory process, with our perception process. Attention direct our sensory and perception process to the some object. Clear? And support this activity. Yes, of course, we can concentrate attention limited time. After some times, after attention automatically jumping to the other object. You cannot see to the some object very long time. After some times, your eyes jumping to other object. It's like protect your mind, and because you must control all environment around you. We have two types of attention, voluntary and involuntary. Involuntary attention, it's like you listen some unusual sound, event in environment, you concentrate your attention to those event. Clear? It's a type of attention has name involuntary attention. Voluntary attention, you don't like reading some books, but you open these books and you're reading these books. You understand? Yeah, it's like a voluntary attention. You need spend some power. What power has connections with attention? Willpower. Willpower, it's a power which concentrate attention to the some object. Some object not so pretty for you. You don't feel pleasure from those objects. But your willpower concentrate your attention to those objects. Clear? Consciousness and our psychic consciousness and our mind, it's like a synonyms in general. In usual language, it's like a synonyms. Yes, consciousness, I repeat once more, it's an internal model of the external worlds. Consciousness, it's a level of awareness. What does mean awareness? Awareness, it's mean we responsibility for our behavior. Okay, why we has consciousness? We has consciousness because our brain ready to consciousness. It's clear. Our brain ready to consciousness. We ready to consciousness. It's a properties of our nerve systems. Other point of view, consciousness, it's like a supernatural. It's mean like a soul. Clear. It's like a soul, and yes, of course, in the scientific point of view, we think then consciousness it's the properties of our nerve systems. We has a consciousness because our brain ready to consciousness. Second point of view, yeah, it's a natural phenomena. Yes, first point of view, it's mean consciousness. It's like a supernatural. It's like a soul. And second point of view, it's a natural phenomena. And for what purpose we need consciousness? We need consciousness because we need create a very difficult strategy of behavior. For consciousness, it's a mechanism which open way to difficult behavior. For what purpose we need consciousness? I forgot said. Consciousness open way to the orientation. Consciousness it's orientations in the time, place, and personality. And yes, of course, last sentences. Yes, of course, who create our consciousness? Brain. And what it's a phenomena. Our brain must understand what does it mean brain. Clear? It's very difficult. In my opinion, it's very difficult. But now it has really problems with understanding consciousness. We has a lot of definitions. What does it mean consciousness? But every definition's not completely. Third position is that peoples are indeed consciousness. This is consciousness. It's a proceed by the activity of the human brain, and there are very reason for us to be optimistic about our ability to understand this phenomena. Clear? We think that we understand our consciousness. Or I like this example. I ask you reading this example. What essential of this example? Lady living in the black and white world every time, but she know everything. What does it mean? Colors. Color. She reading books about this. She knows that present a world in which not only black and white, in which present lot of color. She understand physics. She understand everything. Yeah, but what qualia phenomena? When she go out from black and white words and see our world in which present lot of color, what do you think? Can she understand what does it mean red? Yes, of course. No, impossible. But she can use access consciousness. For example, she can use a special device which recognize a length of wave. And if you check that, for example, some object has a length like 400 nanometers, she understand it's a red. Clear? Without external information, she don't understand what does it mean red, because in she sensory experience absent sensory experience. What does it mean red? Clear? For example, special device or language. For example, maybe she receive a special checkbox in which present red, blue, and she reading color books in which present this is a red, this is a blue, this is a yellow. Yes, of course. Access consciousness open way to understand some object in which we don't, in which absent from a qualia. Next phenomena. Consciousness. Consciousness, we said, then consciousness is the properties of our mind, correct? Yes, of course. And consciousness, it's a chemical reaction. Consciousness, it's a structure of our brain. Yes, consciousness, it's a structure of our brain. And what does it mean consciousness? What does it mean consciousness? Consciousness, it's something which we feel right now. Okay, now we have, for example, device like a teleporter device. Yes, okay, teleporter device. I hope you remember movies like Star Trek. In Star Trek, they use teleport. What does mean teleport? It's a device which disassembles your body to the molecular and in atomic level and assembling once more. Okay, when we assemble, okay, it's like a snapshot. It's a snapshot of our body in second. Okay, we create a two organism. What do you think when we create a snapshot of our body? This copy behaves consciousness or without consciousness? If consciousness is a properties of our body, if consciousness is a properties of our body, if consciousness is a chemical reaction, when we copy all atom in our body, we create body with consciousness. If consciousness it's a like a level of if consciousness it's a level of it's like a soul, supernatural, we receive only body. Three types of theory. Brain, it's like a 3 point of view. Yes, brain system of the consciousness. Yes, consciousness are graded properties of the neuronal systems, and consciousness it's a state of integrations between brain systems. Clear? It's like a 3 point of view which depend. It's like an answer. What does it mean consciousness? Yeah, it's a 3 answer. This answer include what's background of consciousness. It's a brain. It's a neuronal process. It's a not only brain like an anatomical structure. It's a brain like a functions, and consciousness. It's an integration of information. It's like a level of. It's a level of. Say so. It's a level of functions. It's a level of functions. Now we discuss about two type of process which control it due consciousness, and process which not control it due consciousness. Yeah. Yes, of course, process which control due consciousness so far so slow, but level of understanding, level of awareness much more high. In consciousness we can do more difficult operations. In consciousness we can do much more difficult operations. Consciousness open way to do difficult operations, but this operation so slow. If we need do something very fast, we need use unconsciousness level. When we do something with responsibility, we must use level of consciousness. I hope you understand this picture. You can see this picture once more. Stop films and think about this picture more times. Different area of cortex has different functions, but consciousness integrate all functions in one system. Consciousness integrate all functions in one system. Yeah, it's cortex and functions of the cortex. Clear? Different area responsibility for different functions. And what does mean consciousness? Consciousness it's something which integrate on functions in the one systems. It's something which create orientations. Clear? Consciousness create orientations. Consciousness create orientations in the world. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Goodbye. Okay, dear colleagues, now I stop my video stream and now present only audio streaming. I hope you understand lecture not so difficult. I'm sorry, lecture so difficult. And I won't repeat once more. Consciousness, it's a level of awareness. Consciousness, it's a level of it's a internal model of the external worlds. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much.